So the Chicago Bears have a key starter. He's going to be on the chopping block right now. And the new defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen, he's in the fold. But that's along with secondary coach Al Harris. And between these two guys, the patience with this particular player is going to be severely lacking. And that player is Tyreek Stevenson. And new secondary coach Al Harris, he just fired an absolute shot. This guy isn't messing around. So I'm going to get to this. Al Harris, I think he might be the best coach on this staff beyond Ben Johnson. He's demanding. He demands focus. He demands results. And he's also proactive. And he's actually notorious for being a demanding coach. So only 24 hours after he was hired, right? He got Tyreek Stevenson to sign up with Pete Houlihan's performance program. Now, Pete Houlihan, he's from Illinois. He played ball at Eastern Illinois, and he's since transitioned into sports training. He's really becoming a go-to for players that want to refine their game, both mentally and physically. And his client list is getting pretty nice. We're talking young guys mostly, like Brian Thomas Jr., Brock Bowers, also Malik Neighbors. And Harris is doing something here. Right from the get-go, he's immediately identifying the uneven performance and nonsense by Tyreek Stevenson as a problem. And this signals that he also sees promise in him as well. And he's just going to demand the best, and he's going to give him the tools to do so. And personally, I really like Tyreek as a player. I want the best for him. I think this is the start of that. And so Al Harris, as you know, he knows his stuff. And it's not just his all-pro playing career. This is the dude that developed Trevon Diggs, Deron Bland. He developed these guys into all pros. They were with him their whole career in Dallas. And his reputation as a coach, once again, it's a reputation that he hammers the details and demands performance. So we're talking with Tyreek, right? Blown coverages, lack of focus. That ends right now. It's no longer going to be tolerated by this staff. And now this is one of the best units in the league talent-wise, right? If Harris can get at it like this, if he can get everything running at an optimal level, teams are going to absolutely hate throwing against us. And the Bears have already emphasized the mental aspect of the game as well beyond this, how important it is. They're employing a retired U.S. Army colonel. His name is Andy Rice as the new position. He's the team's mental performance and leadership coordinator. I'm going to be talking about this in future videos, but I know this is a program that players often employ on both ends, but part of me feels like this is a boot camp of sorts for Stevenson, a chance to get him back in line and become all he can be. And this is straight from the announcement from Houlihan. I'm going to go ahead and call this up. Bear with me here. I'm my own producer. So this is from Houlihan. We are pleased to confirm the enrollment of Tyreek Stevenson in Pete Houlihan's performance training program. His participation comes highly recommended by Al Harris. Al Harris has identified Stevenson as an NFL cornerback with the potential to develop into an elite ball hawk. It's going to focus on enhancing Stevenson's ball hawking skills and defensive awareness, prepping him for the next level of competition. We look forward to seeing his growth and success in this program. And yeah, that's straight from Houlihan. And guys, this is harsh, but I also think it's just a really good thing. I'm all for this. You identify a player that's struggling, you give him all that he needs to succeed. But I also think that the leash on him is going to be very, very short. We're looking at Dennis Allen too. This guy coaches tough as well. And Tyreek still has an opportunity to be a huge part of this defense. He can be a key starter. And you're kind of looking at what he's done in his career, but most notably last year. I mean, Stevenson entered the 2024 season viewed as someone who was probably going to have a breakout sophomore season. We covered it here, showed ton of promise in his rookie season. But then we see what happened. Ended up being completely fool's gold. Stevenson, he struggled often. It was highlighted by the infamous Hail Mary play against the Commanders, right? He was jawing at the crowd. Now, the Hail Mary was a huge issue, but honestly, if you look at his play as a whole, his play wasn't great outside of that. He allowed a 83.2 passer rating when targeted. That was 146th in the league, 146th. And that's among all qualifying cornerbacks per PFF. That's got to be, that's awful. And he was picked on often. We know that. And a lot of that is due to teams staying away from Jalen Johnson because he's a lockdown. Teams have a better rating at quarterback if they just throw the ball into the dirt instead of throwing at Jalen. But you got to play better than that on the other side. That's not great. And he was also in a good handful of scuffles with other receivers. You remember the Thanksgiving game. The guy needs this mental work that Harris is pushing him towards, and it's just something that can't happen. And a cornerback, what does he need to do here? He needs to play confident and aggressive. That's what he's got to do to be at his best. But there's a fine line, right? There's a fine line between this and being totally immature and costing your team. And that's what Stevenson has been doing. The guy's really young. He's learning how to deal with things in this league. So a new coordinator who can enforce discipline on that side of the ball should be really, really good for him and for the Chicago Bears. These actions are all good things. And it's not like we don't have talent waiting in the wings, right? Terrell Smith. This guy's already been platooning with him, and I wouldn't hate having him just take over the role if needed. He's been absolutely great. He's a 5th-round pick in the same draft as Stevenson. He's shown so many glimpses when given the opportunity, and he's performed at a really high level. And there's an argument to be made as well. It's all over that Smith has played better than Stevenson while seeing the field much less. And if Stevenson continues to be a problem behavior-wise, if he can't mature and he's not showing up on the field to make up for this immaturity, first of all, I want the immaturity solved regardless, we can possibly see Smith take this job outright. But absolutely, this is shots fired. A very clear message has been sent. He's been singled out. But with that, the tools are being provided to help him succeed. Totally fair. The coaches are for him. I really like this move, and it also makes me an even bigger fan of Al Harris as a coach. And we've seen so many additions to the staff, and there's still more to come. They've got to be done this week because scouting starts with the Senior Bowl this weekend, and everything's got to be in place. But you're looking at Ben Johnson. You're looking at Doyle at offensive coordinator. Not a flashy hire, and I get it, but the guy is classified as a whiz kid. He's 28 and hungry. We don't want a guy who's so experienced that he's fighting against Ben Johnson and trying to put his own experience in and his own way of doing things in. Ben Johnson wants to run his own offense, and he wants a guy that's going to organize things, that's going to have the table all set so he can come in later in the week and do his thing, set the playbook, set the offense. And I think Doyle's going to be a really good extension of his. Dennis Allen, absolute home run at defensive coordinator. He's been year after year after year fantastic for the Saints, finishing numerous times in top 5, having a top 5 defense, absolute home run. But man, I think Al Harris might be, outside of Ben Johnson, the absolute best addition to this whole coaching staff. All-pro as a player. Man, he gave us headaches, didn't he? All-pro as a player, obviously. But man, he has overseen really 3 top-level corners in Dallas. And he's made them into all pros, and he's hard-nosed. He's experienced, a 14-year coaching veteran, and we get to have him here coaching our secondary, and it shows. He is working hard immediately to improve this team. 24 hours into being at Hallis Hall, he already has Tyreek Stevenson essentially being sent to reform school for football players, and I couldn't love this enough. It is an aggressive move. It's also a move that sends a message to the rest of the team. If you're undisciplined, we're going to try to help you, but there's no room on this ship for fools. And Tyreek Stevenson started acting like an absolute fool. And I really hope that this is fixed because he's one heck of a player. He showed that his rookie year. And hopefully this will be the first step to having our original plan opposite Jalen Johnson. If not, we've got Terrell Smith. We've got Gordon that can step in. And we should have our safety back. He should be over his concussion issues. And man, defense, offense looking good. We're going to continue to get into this player acquisition time of the year. finish up these coaches. And before you know it, it's going to be draft time. So you guys let me know what you think about this move. Do you think that Tyreek Stevenson is savable as a player? And do you think this is the right way to do it? Al Harris is a beast as a coach, just like he was as a player. And I can't wait to see how this fleshes out. You guys will talk soon, and bear down, right? See ya.